There's a special kind of weariness that traders know all too well. It isn't about tired muscles or even the usual mental fatigue from hours spent analyzing charts. This exhaustion runs deeper right to the heart of your determination. It shows up on those days when you've done everything right, followed your system, waited patiently for your entry, respected your stop loss. Yet the market, in its brutal indifference, sweeps your efforts away in an instant. The market cares about nothing, and you feel that very clearly. Still, the next morning, there you are again logging in, scanning those familiar landscapes on your screen. You don't come back chasing a burst of motivation. You return because there's something stubborn inside you, something that just won't give up. That's what gives this phase its punishing edge, and strangely, its power to transform you. Day after day, you get up early, updating those support and resistance levels, telling yourself this time will be different, that you've learned enough from your past mistakes. Then, the trade a flicker of hope as the price moves in your favor, only to snap back, erasing any optimism you had. When the chart bleeds red, it can feel like the loss has singled you out. Every blow feels personal, almost as if the market is testing your resolve. Each time you get stopped out, it's a harsh reminder. It stings, like a rebuke straight from the market. That's when doubt begins to creep in. Nothing is spared, not your trading plan, not your strategy, and not even your self-worth. At first, you might have believed trading was all about mastering technique. Later, you suspected it was about having the patience to wait for the right opportunity. But now you're discovering a tougher lesson. It's really about grit. It's about having the strength to show up, time and time again, even when every part of you wants to give up. This is the crossroads where many simply disappear. They'll say they just need a short break, but somehow days off quietly turn into months, or even longer. Sometimes they never come back. You've seen it happen. Those familiar names who once shared their charts, asked questions, and celebrated their wins. Now, suddenly, their silence says everything. But you're still here, pushing forward. You're carrying wounds that only other traders truly understand. The pain hasn't driven you away, and if you're honest, you can't quite explain what keeps you going. Somewhere deep inside, you still hold on to the hope that these difficult days will lead to something brighter. That hope isn't born from reason. It's forged through experience. In your gut, you remember every trial you've faced before, and you know you've survived storms even tougher than this. You've felt the dizzying highs of thinking you finally cracked the secret, only to watch your momentum slip away, trade by painful trade. You've made it through the embarrassment of telling friends and family that despite all the time and effort, profitability is still just out of reach. You've felt the sting watching others succeed with ease, their highlight reels flashing across your screen, while your own progress seems to stall. But even through every setback and every wave of doubt, you kept coming back. You returned to the charts, and that's not weakness. It's something almost no one mentions: resilience. In trading, resilience isn't showy. It doesn't announce itself with bravado or empty affirmations. Instead, it's a quiet force, a steady resolve that keeps you coming back to your desk, even when your spirit feels worn thin. It's reviewing your losses carefully, without letting self-judgment take over. Learning to shift your focus from disappointment to discipline means dedicating yourself to improving your process instead of getting stuck in defeat. The truth is, personal growth doesn't happen when everything is going well. It takes root in the darkest moments, during those stretches of losses when giving up seems so much easier. Yet here you are, in this difficult place, refusing to yield. This is exactly where transformation begins. This is the exhausted phase, the tipping point where the person you once were meets the trader you are about to become. You might not see it yet, but every time you show up bruised, but not broken, you're proving real transformation is happening. With every loss that doesn't drive you away, you're quietly teaching yourself that you are more than just your results. You're toughening up, building emotional resilience, one trade at a time. Loss after loss, it's truly remarkable. The longer you stay on this trading journey, the more it starts to reflect the lessons of life itself. Most people start this path chasing profits, but along the way the market forces you to face setbacks, accept uncertainty, and develop patience. The true meaning of consistency changes over time. It's less about always being right, and much more about staying calm when you make mistakes. The market will always surprise us. While you can't control the outcome, you can control how you respond. That's where real progress begins. Growth isn't about just counting your wins. It's about those moments when a loss no longer breaks you. When you can end a tough session and honestly say, "This is just part of the journey." You've crossed a threshold that few ever reach. There comes a moment when you stop chasing perfection and start focusing on simply showing up and doing the work. It's the shift from avoiding discomfort to learning from it. Every legendary trader has faced this private battle, the phase where the journey feels pointless, the goal seems impossibly far, and every effort feels like it leads nowhere. It's a lot like climbing a mountain wrapped in thick fog. The summit is hidden, and even your progress is hard to see. Yet you keep moving upward. Turning back would mean giving up on all the hardship you've already overcome. And then subtle changes begin to grow within you. Frustration still visits you, but it no longer controls your choices. Doubt is still there, but you don't follow its every whisper. You begin to separate your emotions from your trading actions. A losing trade still stings, but it doesn't send you spiraling. A victory is a relief, but it won't inflate your ego. This transformation is subtle. It grows quietly, deep beneath the surface. You won't see it in your account balance, but you will notice it in your steadier heartbeat and your calmer mind. You begin to feel a new strength poised, steady, unshakable. As we move forward together, let me ask you this. Do fear, self-doubt, or the urge to overtrade keep holding you back? The truth is, most traders don't fail because their strategies are bad. They struggle because their mindset isn't strong enough. That's exactly why I wrote my ebook, Master Your Mind, Master Your Trades. Inside, you'll find real, actionable advice to help you manage your emotions, commit to discipline, and tackle every trade with the mindset of a seasoned professional. If you're serious about breaking old habits, check out the link in the description and the pinned comment to claim your copy. Now, let's keep going. This right here is the foundation every truly consistent trader stands on. Not a secret strategy, not a special indicator, and not an expensive system, just pure hard-earned emotional discipline, forged through repeated failures. In this world, it's not the most knowledgeable trader who wins. It's the one who simply refuses to break. As you spend time in this phase, something changes. Your relationship with the market matures. The blame and anger fade away. You stop seeing the market as your enemy, and instead, you begin to understand it. Losses don't sting like personal betrayals anymore. Instead, they become messages, feedback that helps you grow. Each loss is a signal, quietly pointing out gaps in your process, flaws in your timing, or moments when you lacked patience. When you stop taking those setbacks to heart, your vision gets clearer. You start to see that real consistency isn't about avoiding pain, it's about handling pain with intention. Emotional pain is part of the journey. You can't dodge it entirely, but you can decide how long it stays with you. Most traders are undone not by bad trades, but by their own reactions. It starts with frustration. You chase losses with bigger bets, abandon your plans, and scramble to erase that lingering discomfort. But no matter how hard you try, it only makes things worse. The hole just gets deeper. Yet, after all that, when you return to your desk in those weary moments, something shifts. You begin to see through the illusion. Not taking action is actually a choice. Sometimes, holding back is the smartest move you can make. You begin to feel more comfortable with discomfort. You stop running from it. And in that space, discipline starts to grow into something stronger. Your focus sharpens, and you become more resilient. Your trades begin to lose their drama. They become steady, almost monotonous. That subtle quietness, it signals real progress. You reach a point where the thrill fades. You stop trading for a burst of adrenaline, and you start to value calm over chasing quick wins. Then the realization sets in: true success isn't about getting rich overnight. It's about lasting long enough to let your edge show itself. And to last, you need emotional stability. That kind of steadiness only takes root after you've weathered this phase, the phase where you're tired of losing but refuse to quit. Showing up when you're worn out, that's the real separator. It's what allows those who ultimately succeed to break away from those who just miss the mark. You may feel stuck, thinking your struggles mean you aren't making progress. But take a closer look at yourself. The panic that used to hit after a loss has faded. You're not constantly changing your strategy out of fear anymore. You don't rush into reckless trades just to ease the pain of defeat. That's growth, quiet, almost invisible growth. It's the kind that doesn't show up right away in your P&L chart, but it's building the emotional resilience you'll need when your system finally starts to pay off. You might not see it yet, but you're not standing still. Right now, you're growing stronger. The market is shaping you, teaching you how to face emotional exhaustion without falling apart. You're building the wisdom that only comes from enduring discomfort, the steady resolve to hold your ground. Even when every part of you wants to retreat, This tired phase isn't the end of your story, it's the turning point where real change begins. It's a proving ground that prepares you for true success, not just a brief moment of triumph. Real achievement comes with its own weight: accountability, control, and the need for unwavering emotional balance. This is the heart of the chapter. If you're feeling tired but still staring at your screen, don't take your struggle as a sign of weakness. Instead, it shows your determination, a rare kind of strength. Every time you go back to the charts, even after a loss, you're making an investment in your future peace of mind. When you face setbacks without falling apart, you're building the foundation for consistency, brick by brick. Each time you choose to keep going, especially when it's tough, you prove to yourself just how capable you are. You don't do this for comfort. It's the struggle itself that shapes you into someone stronger. True traders aren't born in moments of triumph. They're shaped in those silent, raw, and challenging hours when no one is watching. The real test comes when you keep showing up even as everything feels like it's falling apart. Deep down, there's a stubborn hope that all this discomfort is actually building your purpose. Someday, when you look back, you'll realize that this tough phase is what made you truly resilient. Every trader reaches a point where discipline starts to feel pointless. You follow your strategy week after week, sometimes for months, while your results just don't seem to change. The disappointment lingers as you close your laptop after yet another fruitless session. You start to question the very point of sticking to your process. Temptation creeps in, a subtle voice suggesting you abandon your rules, take impulsive trades, or even chase randomness, hoping for better results. This is a dangerous mindset. It slowly erodes your patience and slips into your thoughts when everything is still and quiet. This is when trading really tests you, not when mistakes set you back, but when you do everything right and still face losses. You do everything by the book. You wait patiently for the best setups, protect your capital with careful risk management, and follow your plan to the letter. Yet time and again the market brushes you aside, stops you out, and only then surges in the direction you predicted. You keep reminding yourself that your edge will pay off in the long run. But with every loss, it gets harder to stay confident, especially when the outcome feels designed just to break your spirit. The candles move against you while you're in, and as soon as you're out, they rocket exactly where you hoped they would go. You tell yourself it's just randomness. Still, part of you feels singled out, like the market is playing games with you. This is a subtle and dangerous place to be. Here, countless traders abandon the very disciplines that could have led them to success. Discipline starts to fade, and impulsive trading seems more appealing. You wonder if your gut instinct might serve you better, or if your rules are just holding you back. Bit by bit, doubt eats away at the structure you spent years building. Many promising journeys fall apart, not because the rules were wrong, but because frustration tempts traders to let go of discipline when it matters most. Many people never discover this secret: the market isn't impressed by a few disciplined moments, or even a streak of them. The real reward goes to those who can do the right thing again and again long enough for the odds to finally work in their favor. Think of discipline as a hidden savings account. Its value grows quietly beneath the surface. You might not see results immediately, but every time you resist an emotional impulse, you're making a deposit for your trading future. The true power of discipline shows up when you're exhausted and motivation is gone. Discipline isn't for the easy days, it's what carries you through when things get tough. Discipline is the life raft when quitting feels like the only option. It's what carries you from repeated failures to that vital breakthrough. Traders who achieve consistency aren't the ones who stumble upon a flawless method. They're the ones who stick to their rules until the payoff comes. Even if you can't see the change yet, your discipline is quietly transforming you from the inside out. Your internal wiring is shifting. Each day you face uncertainty, your resilience grows stronger. You learn to handle discomfort without letting it control your actions. These hard-won skills are what separate seasoned traders from those who just take risks. In the heat of the moment, this process can feel like pure agony: so much effort, with so little reward. Think back to the last time you broke your own trading rules. Maybe you moved your stop-loss out of hope, rushed into a trade, or doubled down to chase a quick recovery. That rush, the brief feeling of control, can be intoxicating, but more often than not, it leads to regret. This is the hidden price we pay for acting on impulse. Quick relief often turns into lasting pain. Discipline, on the other hand, might sting at first, but in the long run, it protects you. Every time you choose to honor your strategy instead of giving in to your urges, you protect both your trading account and your self-belief. Yes, losses will still happen, but now you're losing on your own terms. And that's important because losing the right way leads to long-term stability. Over time, managing your losses carefully sets you up for those meaningful, controlled wins. The traders who make it through this challenging phase learn a powerful lesson, one that most never understand. They let go of the idea that discipline must feel good in the moment. They stop waiting for some emotional sign to prove their process is working. Instead, they come to see that trading is all about patience. It's about being willing to wait for the real reward. The market doesn't usually reward you the moment you stick to your plan. But with relentless discipline, future gains become almost inevitable. Still, this is a tough lesson to accept, especially while you're in the middle of uncertainty. That feeling can get even stronger when you scroll through social media. You see other people showing off their victories, big wins, eye-catching profits, or stories about finally cracking the code. All of a sudden, it can seem like your own progress isn't enough, as if you missed a crucial step. But remember, what people share are the highlights, not the full journey. Behind every screenshot lies countless hours, days and nights spent grinding, doubting, and persevering. It's discipline that goes unseen by the outside world. You measure your private struggles against the curated highlights others choose to share. But that's one of trading's harshest illusions. Here's the reality most people never hear. Failure isn't just about losing money. It's about losing trust in your method. When doubt creeps in and you abandon your hard-earned discipline, emotion takes over your decisions. Discipline is your lifeline. It keeps you grounded when emotions threaten to sweep you from one regret to the next. It's discipline that protects you from reacting impulsively to sudden market swings. Instead of chaos, discipline creates a reliable framework you can trust. The more you lean on habits and structure, the less you have to depend on luck. Discipline won't bring instant rewards, but it does mean that when the right opportunity comes along, you'll be prepared to act. Remember, when emotions take over, your focus narrows to just this moment. Long-term growth slips away. You begin to chase immediate comfort, losing sight of what truly matters. This is where loss chasing begins. It's the reason for overtrading and why some traders lose entire accounts. Every quick decision is really just an attempt to avoid the discomfort of not knowing what the market will do next. But the real rewards go to those who can sit with that uncertainty longer than most. When you feel tired of losing but still have the will to keep going, the greatest danger isn't giving up, it's breaking your own rules just to feel like you're making progress. Your mind whispers, one big trade will fix everything. But that's the trap. The truth is, you don't need a big win, you just need to keep following your system one more time. You need to hold on just a little longer, even when every instinct urges you to let go. What really matters is making it through the storm so your carefully planned advantage has a chance to appear. Those who succeed aren't always more intelligent or talented. Their true strength is emotional stamina. They're willing to look wrong for longer. They accept losses with grace. They can handle boredom, while others chase excitement because they know that consistency isn't fueled by adrenaline. Real consistency comes from emotional steadiness. You can't trade effectively if desperation is driving you. Desperation distorts your vision, making you act on impulse instead of responding with thought. That's why traders who step away and take breaks often return even sharper. Those pauses give them time to regain emotional balance and to find the clarity they need to act without fear or greed. You may not control the market, but you have full authority over your mindset. That's what discipline truly means, mastering your emotions in the face of uncertainty. Once you understand this, your entire perspective changes. Discipline no longer feels like a punishment, it becomes a mark of growth. You're reaching a level that very few people ever do, the ability to control your own actions. Every act of discipline is proof you've grown beyond your old self, the one who always needed approval, chased quick wins, or panicked in the face of loss. Remember, this tough period is only temporary. The rewards you want won't appear overnight. They come only after the market sees you can handle them responsibly. This is the part many never get. The market tests your resolve long before it ever rewards you. Losses aren't there to punish you, but to show your true character when things get tough. How you respond in those tough moments shapes your potential far more than any single result ever could. If discipline feels pointless right now, that's intentional. It's supposed to be uncomfortable, monotonous, even disheartening at times. Yet with each repetition, your emotional core grows stronger, quietly and steadily. Once that foundation is built, everything in trading starts to click. One day, you'll look back on these struggles and realize this journey was never just about profit. It was about transformation, a lesson in letting go of attachment to results, putting faith in your plan despite uncertainty, and mastering your impulses. That's what consistency is built on. So keep showing up even on days when progress seems invisible. Stay committed to your strategy, even if your account balance doesn't yet reflect your effort. Hold firm to your method, especially when your emotions tempt you to doubt. This is the true test, where traders are made not by chance, but by steady, unseen determination. When the urge to quit feels the strongest, remember you're not starting over. You're moving forward, building rare habits that most people never master. You're becoming someone who chooses discipline over fleeting motivation. And when that transformation is complete, results no longer feel random. Success becomes a natural outcome, no longer just an accident. Every trader faces a pivotal crossroads that shapes their entire journey. It's not the flashy moment when you double your account, or when you find the perfect setup, or even when profits start to roll in steadily. The real turning point is much quieter. It's that morning when, after yet another setback, you sit in silence, stare at your screen, and choose to persist. That small, almost invisible decision to keep going even when you're exhausted, and every part of you wants to give up. That's the true breakthrough. There is no dramatic moment, no sudden rush of adrenaline. Instead, there's a steady quiet, almost a sense of relief as you realize the market owes you nothing. What you owe is to yourself, to give true patience one more honest chance. This moment isn't driven by hype from the outside. It's driven by something within, an understanding that trading isn't about flawless execution. It's about your ability to function and stay steady, even with all your imperfections. Markets don't reward those who try to control everything. They reward those who find their footing, even in chaos. Resilience isn't earned by stacking up wins. You earn it simply by surviving. Every account you busted, every guideline you abandoned, and every impulsive trade you came to regret, these weren't just failures, they were lessons sent to toughen your emotional armor. After enough hardship, something inside you changes. Panic starts to lose its grip. The constant noise turns into a distant hum. Instead of chasing every move, you begin to truly observe the market. The urge to force trades fades away, replaced by the wisdom to wait for the right moment. You let go of that need for external affirmation, realizing that the only approval that truly matters is your own. This is when you become a formidable force, not because you've banished fear, but because you stay calm, even as fear lingers. At this stage, trading finally makes sense, not because you've cracked some secret code, but because you've stopped sabotaging yourself. You no longer let every chart movement, sudden surge, or market fakeout control your reactions. You stop grasping for control over what will always be uncertain. Instead, you start to master the only thing you truly can, yourself. It's strange, isn't it? The thing that once made you uneasy waiting patiently has now become your ally. Your perspective shifts. You begin to notice not only patterns in the market, but patterns in your own behavior. You catch yourself when you're tempted to chase losses. You notice when pride starts to take over. When emotions quietly try to override your logic, you're aware. But this time, instead of leaping in, you pause. You take a breath. You let those impulses fade away. This is what real emotional growth looks like. The market hasn't changed. Your strategy remains the same. But you're different now. That's the true turning point. So often, this quiet transformation inside goes unnoticed, a shift that happens long before any sign of outward success. You stop worrying about being right on every trade. Instead, you focus on showing up consistently, day after day. The question shifts from how much you can make to how much you can protect. Trading no longer feels like a gamble. It becomes more like running a well-managed business. And something surprising happens. Losses don't break you anymore. You record them, learn from them, and move on. The emotional weight that once felt overwhelming now barely affects you. A single loss doesn't define your worth. Mistakes turn into lessons, not roadblocks. Your perspective matures. You begin to think like an experienced professional, not someone just rolling the dice. But here's the twist. This stage is almost invisible from the outside. To others, it may look like nothing is changing. Your trades are smaller. You wait your turn. Patience becomes your signature trait. You're not posting winning screenshots all over social media, but inside, everything is shifting. Your emotions begin to calm. Your confidence quietly rebuilds. You start to understand risk in a sharper, more practical way. And then the shift happens. You move from being a trader who just reacts to one who responds thoughtfully. That small, subtle difference is what separates those who last from those who fade away. Anyone can look skilled when the wind is at their back, but seasoned traders, They hold their ground even when the storm hits. They've trained themselves to stay composed in the face of uncertainty, even when everyone else starts to panic. That's why veteran traders seem unshaken while the market whirls around them. They've already weathered the emotional storms that trip up newcomers. Then comes a quiet milestone. One day, you log a losing trade, and instead of frustration, you simply accept it. There's a deep calm, not indifference, but true detachment. A loss no longer rattles your foundation. It becomes information, not an injury. This is the kind of emotional freedom that trading quietly demands. Your victories won't bring the same rush they once did. You might still feel grateful, but that old surge of adrenaline is gone. And that's a good sign. When your emotions no longer rise and fall with every outcome, you've reached true neutrality. This is the mental balance where steady results become possible. Neutrality doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you don't let your feelings steer your decisions. It's sticking to your process whether you're confident or full of doubt. It means accepting losses calmly and greeting wins with humility. Your sense of worth is no longer tied to the highs and lows of your account balance. At this point, trading goes beyond the charts. It becomes a journey of mastering yourself. Every trading setup teaches you patience. Every result shows your self-control. Trading is no longer just about market moves. It turns into a daily test of your discipline, your strengths, and even your blind spots. With this new perspective, everything changes. In the end, true consistency isn't about always chasing the next big strategy. True consistency comes from becoming the kind of person who can handle monotony, uncertainty, and the daily grind without falling apart. That's the real lesson behind every setback you've faced. The market isn't your enemy. It's the fire that forges you. It strips away impulsiveness, drains your greed, and quiets your ego until all that's left is pure discipline. When you finally make that shift, trading stops being a battleground of emotions. It becomes an exercise in strategy and control. You go from constantly reacting to thoughtfully planning out your week. You rely on prompts and alerts instead of being glued nervously to the screen. You treat risk with the seriousness of a professional, leaving behind the reckless chase for quick rewards that defines an amateur. With every small adjustment and each slight improvement, both your results and your inner voice grow stronger. Here's a truth many overlook: measurable growth comes after you let go. Rewards show up only when you stop expecting the market to just hand them to you. When your process, not your emotions, guides your actions, you're not just looking for a quick win anymore. You're now drawing on practice skill, no longer trading just for the thrill. Your focus is on maintaining steady performance. The struggle you went through was never a punishment. It was a cleansing fire. It burned away impatience, pride, greed, and desperation that once clouded your judgment. This process forced you to grow tougher in your own mind. It taught you to live with uncertainty, to accept it as just part of the landscape. Once you truly understand this, you stop trying to fight the market. Instead, you move in sync with it. Those who reach this level of mastery don't chalk up their success to good fortune. They credit their preparation. Remember, they once stood exactly where you are, drained, doubting, right on the brink of surrender. They understand the weight you're carrying. But they also see what waits on the far shore: emotional clarity, discipline, and calm. If you're still standing, if you haven't given up, you're much closer to a breakthrough than you think. The pain you feel right now isn't proof of defeat. Instead, it's proof that you're evolving, being shaped into someone strong enough to last in this unforgiving world. In the end, the market rewards those who endure. Never underestimate the quiet, steady persistence that keeps you going, even when no one is watching. These are the moments your future self will look back on with gratitude. Those who make it in trading aren't usually the ones who discover secret shortcuts. Instead, they're the people who refuse to give up, even when things get tough and lonely. So keep coming back, even when it feels dull. Stick to your strategy, especially when your emotions urge you to cut corners. With time, what once felt difficult will become automatic. You'll start your day, follow your plan with confidence, accept losses calmly, and let your winners run without second-guessing. That's when you'll realize the person who was struggling didn't fail. They were transforming all along. Here's the truth at the heart of every consistent trader's story. They weren't born with a special gift. They simply had the resilience to keep going long after most others had given up.